Hey everyone, it's Gary from Peacekeeper's Armory. Today I got another Martin Bayer chassis here. That was a commission for Theo, and this is also going to be a little demo for Theo on how to work everything. As it is how he sent it. He's going to get a new rivet for the bunny ears and whatnot, but I just kind of wanted to showcase how everything works on this. So it's all brass metal master. All brass metal master. With the 18650 variant. This is the first time I've done one of those. So it turned out really nice. I really like the chrome tape on the inside and how all the rodding actually worked. At first I thought that wasn't going to look great, but it actually turned out pretty good. So standard build that I've kind of been doing for a while now. Profi board 1.5. It's got a protected 18650 battery, TCS WOW 28mm speaker, a Physicom 630 Bluetooth module, and then the standard kill switch and recharge port. It's got a blue aqua aura quartz crystal, and what you'll see in a little bit, a Souls Hold Gen 2 brass master chassis, or a master blade holder. So this has the original vintage long pins in there, and you don't have to take them out to do a full reveal, and also a lit blade plug. So let's turn this guy on.
An elegant weapon, but a more civilized age.
So I got NeoPixels in here. I have a 3mm green LED here, and then a 3mm red LED there. They're all separate. So obviously these two can be controlled separately, and then this is controlled separately from the crystal chamber, which is controlled separately from the plasma gate, which is controlled separately from the blade. So you can do a lot of different things with this, which is really cool. So he has 3 fonts on here, all from Kyberphonic. It's the A New Hope Training, the Empire Strikes Back Graphics, and the Force Awakens Graphics. I have 2 different versions of the Force Awakens on there, just because he wanted 2 different tracks on there. So one of them has the Rey theme from the Force Awakens, and one of them is the Rey training from The Last Jedi, because it sounds cool. So I'll just show this real quick. So it's 2-button slide switch, which obviously does that, and then you hold the slide switch to activate lockup. So this has the I'll turn this off real quick. Hold to until power off for that. So this has the color change mod on here. So this is the SA22C. I'm sorry if I missaid that. I'm doing it by memory. Fork on here. It's the I believe it's 2.5 cc or 2.6 cc for the color change beta 2. So it's really cool. I have kind of a blade template that I made myself, which is a traditional lightsaber blade. Nothing super fancy, but it's got a nice flicker for each color, or a random flicker for each, during hum, and then it's got a localized lockup, original blast, because I always thought that looked the best, clash, drag tip, and all that cool stuff. So just kind of just to light up blade plug in there. This is a vintage pin as well, so it does all the same cool stuff as it should. And let's see if I think there's a way to get into color change mode differently, but I'm just going to do it the way I know. So you point it down, you hold and twist, and I just like the simple beeps in there. So now it's in color change mode, so when you swing it, that's going to be, it's hard to tell on camera, but that's a more ESB color blue. That's a more the Force Awakens blue. And then I got purple, kind of an orange yellow. Oops, I think I went too far. There's red, the yellow, and then green. And then once you're done, you choose which one you want. You just hold the button and twist again. And then it'll stay there. So you're probably not going to see too many effects in the blade plug when you have that in there, simply because the localized lockup and original blast are all on certain points on the blade, and obviously the blade plug is essentially another blade, and it runs off the main blade settings, which would only be the first 4. There's 4 LEDs in there, so it's only the first 4 in the blade. So you're probably never going to see the effects on the blade plug, unfortunately. But it's still, it's pretty cool. So you can see it's got the effect in there as well. So yeah, that's pretty much that. It will not save the color tones on once you switch fonts or once you kill it. So if you kill the saber and then turn it back on, it'll go back to the default. So for each font, I have a default color to start with, and then it'll cycle through in another order. So for the A New Hope one, it starts off in the more cyan color, and the Empire Strikes Back, it's the ESB color, which again won't really show on camera, but it looks great in person. So that's kind of that. Let me show you. So the Solus Hold Gen 2 blade holder, at least the master one, it likes to interfere with the vintage button. I have shaved down the threads on the button before, but I don't like doing that because if you go too far, then you're kind of screwed and it won't thread properly. It'll kind of twist. So I just left it how it is. So essentially, there's 2 points that secure the chassis into the hilt. So there's the glass eye as usual, and then the red button as well. The red button, so you're going to get some, not grinding, what's the word? Rubbing from the bottom of the threads of this onto the chassis. So that kind of is what it is without doing the shaving of the threads themselves. So you don't have to take this completely off, but you do have to untwist it a little bit until you feel it kind of let go, and then you can take the glass eye out. Oops, sorry. So there's still the original spring in there. I do recommend replacing this with one of the see-through blade shapeways pieces. That'll make it a little easier. It can be a little pain to put this, but it's a pretty decent blade retention. If you get a Solus Hold, or I'm sorry, if you get a Vader's Vault blade, it's going to be really tight in there, so you don't need too much blade retention. But this is more than perfect to retain the blade plug. So that's just kind of nasty glue pieces, but as you can see, I put a little bit of foam in there and then the contacts for that, just to diffuse it a little better. So the way this is, there's 2 strips. It's a single piece, I'm sorry, there's a single strip of 4 and then it's bent over. So if you put it in a certain way, it might not show as much light through the glass eye as you might want. So you might just have to rotate it a little bit in order to get it where you want in terms of looks. So once you do that, again, this is still loose. You can pull this out, and then it reveals the rest of the chassis. So you can see kind of right along the edge, I'll try and get it to focus. You can see right along the edge, it's going to rub a little bit, but that's fine.
The Force is with you, young
Sorry about that. Let that finish.
Jedi yet.
So this is the Empire Strikes Back one. So you can see kind of the detailing in there. I had Goth custom make these to round out the piece because this is originally designed for another chassis. So he was nice enough to make the pieces where you could just glue on and finish out the rounding on the chassis itself, which turned out pretty nice. So we got the mesh in there, and then the button. So let me show you this as well. I have a little piece of a rivet stem glued into the bottom of this so that it will reach the so for whatever reason, it's because I have some stupid hard glue on there, so it should be fine. But if for whatever reason this is like super close to the edge, you can, or to the thing there, so it's sometimes hard to push with just your fingers, but as you can see, it's doable. So again, this is set slightly different than this, which is matched with the blade. So if you see this flashing but not that, it's because this is more of a localized blade. I didn't want it to pulse with the crystal because I thought it would look better. And yeah. So that's kind of that. So again, for putting it in here, you're going to want to... Dang, this will not focus very well. You're going to want to slide this in until it's like that. The first thing you're going to want to do is put, well, if you're going to put this in here, then you're going to want to slide that in. Put the glass eye in first, because that'll align it to the hole in the glass eye. It's nice and tight. And then you could put this guy on. Well, you don't have to take it all the way off to take it off, but it'll, when it gets tight, that'll be good right there. And then it'll turn on. Oops, I guess I didn't get that tight enough. There we go. So yeah, that's kind of that. Now again, for the buttons, so hold, or I mean press quickly to ignite. Blaster block is going to be just hitting the auxiliary button. Holding the auxiliary button will activate lockup. And if you hit the blaster too quickly, it will trigger lockup a little bit. So it turns red during lockup, so you'll see if you... Of course, I did it once. Okay, cool. Of course, the one time I try it. And again, double tapping the power button will get you the force effect. Up. Oh, I guess that doesn't do anything. That's a single button. Sorry. So again, that activates color change. And then point down and twist. Let's see, so when the saber's off, hold and release, and it'll play the soundtrack. I've got the duel between Vader and Luke for the ESP one, the two I mentioned for The Force Awakens, and then Binary Sunset for A New Hope. And then hold and release to turn it off. And then
that lightsaber
push that
was
for
Luke's.
the...
That lightsaber
Again,
was
two A New Hope
Luke's,
ones. Or I'm sorry, two
and his
Force Awakens
father's
ones.
before him, and now it calls to you.
3.86 volts.
Hold down the auxiliary button until it plays that, and then it will play the current battery level. Yeah, that's kind of it. Like I said, he's going to get a replacement rivet to put the bunny ears on, so he'll have that all done, and then he's got the whole bottom at his place. So yeah, Theo, here is your chassis. You are going to need the adapter for the charging cable. You want to use the TC, or I'm sorry, the Custom Saber Shop has the newer battery charger for 3.7 volts. That's going to be the one you want. And then just get the little adapter for the 1.3 millimeter charging piece, and then you'll be good to go. It'll be a pretty quick charge, 18650 in the chassis. So yeah, for Theo, if you have any quick changes or anything you want me to change before I send it out, let me know. Otherwise, this is your Saber, and I hope you enjoy it. See you guys on the next one.